Hey, everybody. We'll be getting started here in just a few moments. I'm waiting for everybody to hop on. So figure around 3 o'clock and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, just a few more minutes before we get started. Just wanted to make sure everybody had enough time to get on here. Can you guys all hear me okay? If you can just drop an okay or something in the chat, we will be getting started here around 3 o'clock. I will also have my video on here shortly. So yeah, use this time. You can think about any questions you may have towards the end. I do have a jam-packed seminar here for us today. I am super, super excited to share some great knowledge with you guys. So yeah, thank you guys all for joining, and I'll talk to you at 3 o'clock. Thank you guys also for responding. All right. All right, everybody. It is now 3 o'clock. So I am going to go ahead and get started here. So, is everybody on here? Yep, we got 25 people. If you guys would like, please turn on your cameras because I would love to see all your faces so I'm not just looking at some gray squares on here. If you guys can, hello, everybody. It is great to see you all. And we will get started here. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, just to share some knowledge with my neighbors because I really care about you guys, and I've just grown to truly love Riverland and the community that we all share. So let's get into it. And also, like I said in our messages earlier, we will have a live Q&A session at the end of this. So if you guys come across any questions that you may have, if you can just hold them until the end, we'll have you, go through that. And if you have anything while I'm going through, feel free, write it down. As stated online, I said that this is going to go from 3 to 5. Obviously, that's just a ballpark. We might end earlier. So yeah, let's get into it. So to start off here, I have a little bio for you guys. So, who is this guy anyway? My name is Austin Friedenberg. I am a Grove resident in here. I know I look really young. I am. I live with my family. I started this company with the simple mission to provide quality service without high pressure sales tactics or any kind of nonsense that a lot of people are used to dealing in the HVAC industry. And I know for a lot of people, especially coming from up north, these ACs, they seem like it's like rocket science. And I meet people time and time again, just sharing knowledge and whatnot. Just they say, I have no idea what I'm doing. If you can help me out. One of the biggest pillars that I believe in is educating people, especially my neighbors. So I don't want this to come off as a sales call because that's not at all what this is. I'm just delivering some knowledge to you all that can help you out. Outside of work, I am a musician by hobby, so I play the drums. I hang out with my family. I love going to the beach and just, seeing what's around Port St. Lucie. I am a Florida native, which I know is hard to find these days, especially in this area. So I have seen it really grow, and just this area is it's insane how fast we're growing. So let's go ahead and get to it. So today, what we'll be covering, I have 5 different chapters almost for us. So first is understand your AC, our AC maintenance, common problems, and how we can attack them, especially as a homeowner. Debunking common add-ons and myths such as upsells and other things that people may have a couple questions about that I've seen online and in person. And then chapter 5 is going to be our live Q&A session. So as I said before, for those people that are just now joining, if you have any questions, you can hold on to them till the end. We will do a live Q&A session where we will get down to the nitty-gritty. All right. So, starting off strong, chapter 1 here, we have understanding your AC. And again, a lot of people are new to this area, so this is a big one. So, you know a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes. So, I have some statistics here for us that a lot of people don't realize. Florida households consume 40% more electricity annually due to AC usage. Obviously, your AC uses a lot of power and you want to keep your house comfortable, especially during the summer. So, that contributes to that. AC companies report a 50% increase in daily service calls during the summer. I myself have experienced this firsthand, especially last summer, and it has grown tremendously, obviously, even since last summer. And furthermore, air conditioners run 20 hours or more per day in Florida, which I'm sure you guys all know that because you hear it, you feel it, and you get it. So, going forward, how does my AC work? So I'm going to try my best to break this down as simply as I can. I have a second screen here, so if you see me looking off to the side, it's because I'm navigating that screen as well. So I believe if this wants to work, you guys can see a little cursor here. Maybe, maybe not. If you guys can give me a thumbs up. All right, cool. Thank you. So in Florida here, we have heat pump systems. So that's a little bit different than our central AC and furnace setup that we have in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. wherever anybody else here is from. So, our outside unit in the summer, essentially, the left side of this graphic is going to be our year round. So, our outside unit is acting almost as a vacuum, is pulling in hot air from the outside, spitting out even hotter air, and pushing cool air towards the inside here. So that's why you have that long line of copper piping coming from the outside of your home to the inside of your home. It uses Freon or refrigerant. Nowadays, it's called refrigerant because laws and terminology are different to cool during that process. So we're pushing that cold air onto the inside air handler unit here. We are turning that even cooler than the outside temperature where it got cooled, dropping down sometimes to 50 degrees. Your blower fan is pushing the cold air out of your unit to make your home nice and comfortable and cool. And I'm sure there's many husbands in here whose wives complain about it being too cold. So you understand that. And then it takes the return air sucked up at the bottom here. So that would be the hot air sitting at the bottom of your home. And it repurposes that to cool the rest of your house. I know it gets a little bit tricky. I'm trying to break this down as simply as I can. Again, we have all the question time at the end here. So, our heat pump versus furnace setup. Again, like I kind of touched on in the last slide, this is one of the key differences between a Florida home and a New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, anywhere else you guys may be from home. So our heat pump does both heating and cooling on just one unit. It is designed for the long, hot summers and mild winters, which we have here. There's no furnace, so if you've ever noticed, when you turn on your heat in your home now, it gets hot, obviously, because it's an electronic heat. Sometimes that heat may also set off your fire detectors. So, as a general rule of thumb, the first time every season, when you turn your heat on, if your fire alarm goes off, you don't have to call the fire department. There's no fire, it's just the heat. So, your air handler as well is used to circulate that cool air on the heat pump. So, we have that to cool. As opposed to our furnace and central AC setup over here, your heating and cooling is done with two separate systems. As again, up north, there's two separate systems. Your furnace can heat using gas, oil, or electricity. Your central AC cools the air in the summer, and the air still gets carried, same way as here in Florida, through the ducts throughout your home. Our main takeaway here is that you just need the one system here in Florida. It is good enough to do both things. I love it because it's less headache for the homeowner. It's nice and simple for you guys. So, this is a little graphic on how our air handlers work. So, I kind of touched on this in the original photo that I showed. This is again just some more information for you guys so you can see a little bit behind the curtain what we look for as professionals here. So, same story with our compressor here. That's your big outside unit is called your compressor. The hot air gets sucked in, heated, and then cooled on its process to traveling inside of your home. So, that is basically our straightforward, plain descriptions of our AC units. Sounds simple. It's not that simple, but I try to make it sound simple. So, if it sounds simple to you, we're doing a great job. So, let's move on to the big question that many people have is AC maintenance. This is the number one question I get whenever I go to someone's home. If they have tips, tricks, questions, if I can share. So I figured why not have a whole dedicated section to this for you all. So, as a homeowner, what should you be doing? Changing out your air filter every 1 to 3 months. This is crucial, especially here because we are in essentially an active construction zone. If you are in the walk and you live on that last strip that's still being constructed, you've probably noticed your air filters get real gross real fast, especially for all these other communities that were built. So during the construction phase, changing it out more frequently is normal. Once everything gets settled in, like the K and the Grove, and soon to be the Walk, you can go every 2 to 3 months. Step two for a homeowner, check your AC periodically for any weird sounds, water leakage, or malfunction. If you hear a sound that is just not, you know, doesn't sound normal to you, like a clicking sound, a hissing sound, if you notice things turning on and then right back off and back and forth, playing tennis with each other, that's how we know we might have an issue. And then our last tip here is to have professional maintenance done twice a year. Per carrier's warranty process, you do have to have maintenance done twice a year. Otherwise, if you were to have a big issue, which knock on wood, we never have to deal with that, they could deny our warranty claims. And I've seen that firsthand. Obviously, we don't want that because that's another thing we have to worry about. This picture right here, too, is a real filter from a Riverland neighbor. This is a gentleman that lived in the K. He had never had his AC serviced in 5 years of living there. And I don't know if he ever changed that filter either. And judging from what I see, I don't know if he ever did. That question still remains in the air. And this was last summer I took this photo. So, as you can see too on that photo, little mold spores starting to form. Obviously, these are the reasons why we change our filters, because inevitably, when you have a dark, damp, humid environment, we all know what comes out of that, and that's the big MOLD word. So, let's go on. I have a little audience interaction with you guys. When is the last time that you changed your air filter? This is confession time. There's no judgment. Drop in the comments if you can. If you remember, I personally change mine every month on the 1st. 5 weeks ago, March 1st. All right. So we have some regulars here changing their filters. Last week, 6 weeks, March 1st. All right. You guys are doing good on that. My gosh. I hope you guys are all being honest again. No judgment though. So great job to all of those that are staying on top of their filters so we don't have to deal with that mold happening. Never change their filter. All right. I just recommend that you do. Again, like I said, no judgment, no hate. So if you can change your filter, it's probably going to help you long term. I appreciate all the honesty here in the comments. Let's jump ahead here if we can go forth. So, this is a big question I get too. There's too many filter options. I don't know what to get. I even saw in the comments someone asked about what MERV filters to get. You don't need to get anything super, super fancy. When you go to Home Depot, they charge anywhere between 20 and $30 for one filter that is a MERV 8. And I'll touch on the MERV rating shortly here. What you're looking for is you can go on Amazon or go on an HVAC wholesale supply website and order yourself a pack of 4 filters. Online, I find that they are the cheapest, they are the best, and for the price, they're incredibly durable. I'm sure a lot of people in this call right now have had issues with changing their filter. If you've had issues with changing your filter, let's get one of these. Put your hand up here so I can see it for everyone that's on the cameras. Yeah, problems, problems, problems. Yeah. So the way that these filters, the slots are designed, there's a tiny little push thing in the back. And if you don't line up your filter exactly, it won't sit straight. And that filter is getting sucked up into that AC unit. We don't want that because that's restricted airflow. That'll cause us many, many issues down the line. So, getting proper fitting filters is the key. Majority of people in this neighborhood either have a 20 by 20 by 1 or some kind of fraction number like 16 and 3/8 by 23 and 5/16 by 1. Majority of times, your filter size is going to be written on your air handler itself. Either on top, there's a little sticker. It has the name of the company that installed them here and the size of the filters. If your unit does not have that, let me know and I will find the serial number of your unit. We'll look it up together and we'll get you the right size filter. So, like I said, let's touch on the MERV ratings. So, Your MERV scale is essentially your efficiency rating and the thickness of your filter. Some homes in here, they have the 4-inch filter that was an upgrade through GL. Majority of homes in here have the 1-inch filter. Your MERV scale rating is the thickness of the combs in between the paper that holds it in. As you can see in this filter here, there's these little ridges. And I'm sure if you've ever seen an air filter in your life, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The ridge size of your filter is your MERV rating. I recommend, personally, I have seen great success with people using anywhere between MERV 10 and MERV 13. If you go lower, you have less filtration. You'll have to change them more often, and they're a lot more flimsy and prone to getting sucked up in your AC, like how we touched on before. You don't want that to happen. The higher you go, so let's say MERV 14, you end up going the complete opposite of our starter issue. You get too thick. It's like trying to blow through a concrete straw. You don't want that to happen. So anywhere between MERV 10 and MERV 13, you don't want to go above 13. So on the side here, I have our reliable distributors. Like how we were saying, Amazon is a great place to get your filters. However, there are some caveats with that, as there is with buying anything online. You want to look for the reviews. Your reviews are going to be a telltale sign if these filters are quality and if they'll actually do a good job at filtering the air. If you're looking at a listing that has no reviews or poor reviews, obviously we don't want to buy that filter. Another great website here is filterbuy.com. This is a direct to consumer HVAC wholesaler. So, oftentimes they have good products at a fair rate. You may pay a little bit less or a little bit more depending on the filter that you get, but just making note of the filter size that you have, the MERV rating that you have, and comparing it from FilterBuy to Amazon and going from there, making obviously using your best judgment. Another option is supplyhouse.com. This is a professional HVAC wholesale website. This personally is where I get majority of my business materials and equipment from. Great customer service, great products. Same story. You could just got to look at the reviews. Common size is here. I see some people holding up filters. I don't even know where I just saw that, but I saw someone holding up a filter. Common size is here 20 by 20 by 1, 16 by 20 by 1, 19 and 7/8 by 20 and 3/4 by 1. And like I said before, your filter size is written at the top of your unit. If it's not, let me know and we'll figure it out together.
So this is how we're going to change
So
our
the video, let me see if
so
I
this is how we're going to change our filter.
this is me
Bottom
demonstrating how to
plate
change the
here,
filter.
there's two black tabs. They push inwards, and you push it up, pull this out. Your filter sits down into this lip. So what you want to do, put your hand underneath, push up slightly, slide that out. When you put in a new filter, you always want to make sure that this airflow arrow is pointing up. Another indicator is these aluminum wires here. You want them facing up. A good rule of thumb is always put the date on your filter so you know when you changed it. When you put it back in, it slides in, same way as you pulled it out. These homes have a little pin in the back that they have to sit into to stay secure. So what you want to do, if you can't get it, put your hand underneath, push up slightly so it sits into the lip. Once it's sitting into the lip, we'll grab this door here, making sure that this top piece is going up as well. Push these two pins inward, slide it up so it sits flush, and push them back out. And that's everything.
All right. So I hope you guys could hear that. Think you could. It wouldn't let me pause so I can ask. So that is my age-old question is how do you actually change your filter? And I will post this video on my Facebook. So if you ever were to have questions, you can refer back to it. There's a lot of resources on YouTube as well, but I find that a lot of them have the horizontal units instead of the vertical units like how we have. So it's a lot easier than some people think. Once you watch that video, you should become a pro. If you had any questions again, I'd be more than happy to help you out. So let's jump forward and let's stop talking about filters because I'm sure you guys have heard enough for now. Let's talk about our silent killer here, your drain line. How many of you guys have had issues with your drain line before? Let's put our hands up here so I can see you. All right, I got three people, four people. Yeah, this is one of our silent killers, I call it. This is an incredibly common issue, especially here in Port St. Lucie, for whatever reason or another. Over time, algae and dirt build up in your drain, blocking it. It's like building a nice brick wall underneath your home. And it always happens when you're about to leave to go on vacation, or it's 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday, or your grandkids are there and you're about to leave and go do something fun. And you notice, hey, it's a little bit hot in here. Well, this is nine times out of 10, this is our reason. The pan fills up with water, which is underneath your air handler on the inside, or your float switch casing, fills up with water, shuts the AC off to prevent, obviously, your home from flooding. Who would want their home to flood anyway? So, this is something to stay on top of as a homeowner. If you notice that there is excessive water in the pan of your AC, in the box entitled All Access Float Switch, or if you notice excessive dripping on the outside or gelatinous discharge coming out of your drain line on the outside, definitely time to have this checked out. A simple fix. Lots of people use vinegar. Let's raise our hands. Have you ever used vinegar in your AC before? Yep, I got some people. Vinegar is a great home remedy. It's not the best remedy, especially now there's so much technology that we can use to move forward and make sure that this problem never happens. Simple fix, use pan treat tablets. Every other month when you change your filter, I have it monthly here, but honestly, whenever you change your filter, two tabs in, put them in that little float switch box and just leave it. They'll dissolve in the water, they get pushed out and they attack the algae that's already sitting in your drain line. My number one recommendation, brand wise, is new Calgon. And I'll put this in the end here too, so you guys know exactly what to get. And I can even post a little Amazon link so you guys have exactly what to buy. Two tablets
We gotta have
per
five
every
again.
other month, and then we will be rocking and rolling,
All
hoping to
right.
not have any
What
drain
what
issues.
is how much is the refund?
I believe somebody is
Okay,
unmuted here and I
yeah,
can't
you can
find
go
it.
out to dinner. Thank you so much.
Here we go. Got it. Sorry about that. So let's move on. Chapter three is common AC problems here that we have. I'm going to jump through this real quick and then we'll touch back. Like we said, our biggest problem is that float switch and the drain pan, but there are some other things. No cold air. This is the big one. Check your thermostat. I have had countless service calls where they have the thermostat right off the master bedroom, and someone's getting ready to go play pickleball in the morning and they're holding their bag. They nudge that thermostat, turn it on heat, boom. It's 80 degrees in the house. Why is it 80 degrees in the house? Come out here, check it out. It was just our thermostat. So if you ever have no cold air, check your thermostat number one. Make sure your cool setting is on. On that same term, make sure that your fan setting is set to auto. On pushes more humidity in the home, and obviously, when it's 80% humidity outside, you don't want extra humidity in your home. So, second common issue, weak airflow, change your filter. You don't want to have another filter issue like how I showed you guys a couple slides back, where it's all junked up with all sorts of nonsense in it, and then there's no air that can get through. So check that. As long as we stay on top of, like I said, every 2, 3 months, you'll never have that problem. Another issue, your unit won't turn on, check the pan. Going back on our drain line conversation, nine times out of 10, these are simple fixes. That's a big problem there with the water. It's your safety switches that turn the unit off. So we'll check that. If the water's full, we'll remedy as needed. thermostat blank. Another thing that ties into those darn safety switches. God, we're too safe. You want to make sure that there's no water in the pan because, again, that will turn off your thermostat. Obviously, we don't want that. A lot of people, too, they have hardwired and battery thermostats. I don't know if you guys have ever pulled your thermostat off the wall. Some people have two AA batteries that need to be changed. Sometimes it could be as simple as changing out those batteries, and your thermostat will turn right back on. So let's jump ahead. Like I said, we're going to touch on this quick, but then we'll touch on it more at the end when we're actually taking questions. Chapter 4 is debunking myths. So I have a fun game for us that I put together for this presentation. So we're going to do a true or false. So I'm going to ask you guys to respond in the chat if you can. Lowering the thermostat super low cools the house faster. What are we thinking, guys? True or false? I'm going to wait a few seconds for this to getting some answers here. False, 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 false. Okay. All right. So everybody said false thus far. You are correct. It is false. Your AC will still cool at the same speed, regardless of how low you set it. Your AC will run longer and longer and longer if you have it set down to, say, example 62, and it's 93 degrees outside. So you obviously don't want it to run for 3 hours incessantly. Set your thermostat around 75 or 78, depending on your comfort level, and let the AC work its magic. If you find your AC is not cooling down to those temperatures, another quick tip I have, these thermostats sometimes have a 2 to 3 degree discrepancy, and that's built in as a feature. That's so your AC and your thermostat doesn't get overloaded. You don't want that to happen because, again, that would either take a service call or something that you can fix yourself, but you don't want to deal with that headache. So let's move on to our next question. You should close vents in unused rooms to save energy. Let's get some answers here in the comments. Let's see what you guys think. See, false, false, false. Lots of smart people in here. I should hire you guys on as apprentices. Lots of false. All right. And the answer is indeed false. Closing your vents can increase the pressure in your ductwork. So when you have, it's called static pressure, it's just sitting air. When you push and push and push against a wall, an immovable wall, if that can't get out, at some point, that's going to go backwards and bust. It's like running a train into the wall at the same time until it either breaks through or gets sent backwards. So you want to make sure everything is open and let your system properly balance itself. There's a couple things now touching on our technology point that you can put in the rooms to register your AC temperatures in each room aside from your thermostat. We can touch on that all the way at the end, but there's some cool tech that we can look into if you were having that problem where one room is colder than the other, one room is hotter than the other, and we'll go back to that later. Let's move on. AC maintenance is only needed when something breaks. Let's get our true and falses here once again. This has been a hot topic from some people that I've met. False, false. Lots of F's, lots of false. The only time that getting an F is good, right? All right. So, what's our answer? False. Waiting until your AC breaks down leads to expensive repairs and shortens your system lifespan. As we touched on a little bit earlier, per your carrier warranty, you do have to have maintenance twice a year, or else they can deny your claims. Aside from legalities and logistics and whatnot, maintenance is great because then you, as a homeowner, don't have to worry about your drain line clogging up. You don't have to worry about your electronic components failing prematurely because they were never touched. You don't have to worry about one night, again, 11 o'clock at night before you're going on vacation or when you have family there, your AC breaks down for God knows why. When we stay on top of it, it's better than having to react to it. So let's hit our next question here. I think this is our last one. UV lights are just fancy light bulbs that, yep, don't even do anything. Let's get some true or false. I know there's some people that have some mixed emotions about this. This is why I included this in this segment here. Lots of false, false. Here we go. Lots of F's. Cool, cool, cool. And what is our answer here? False. And I'll explain why more in depth towards the end of this, but we'll touch on this now. UV lights are powerful tools at improving your indoor air quality. If you guys have had a UV light in the past, a lot of people have experienced in their homes pre-UV light something that I like to call stinky sock syndrome, where their whole home starts to smell funky and musty of something, and it comes from your AC unit. Oftentimes, once you get a UV light put in, that entire scent, boom, goes away. So there's a lot of other air filtration things again we can look into going with that, but UV lights are a great way to keep your AC clean. So let's move on to a little red flag versus green flag. Again, we're debunking our myths and questions here. So our red flags. I'm sure that a lot of you guys in your lives have experienced some red flag HVAC technicians. I'm going to do a little hand raising again. If you guys have ever experienced some pushy salespeople or HVAC techs that come in your house and want to sell you new units, getting some hands raised here. These are some things that we should look out for. And I have seen this time and time again. I hear horror stories every single day of techs that come in the house and they just want to make a sale. So that is our number one red flag here, is if they're telling you, oh, you need a brand new unit. You need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. And they can't back it up by telling you or showing you what the issue is. That's a red flag. That's we run the other way and we don't look back. Another red flag here is extreme prices. So I have seen companies and in my research and networking and whatnot that charge outrageous prices for simple fixes. There are some companies charging $600 for parts that are $10. Obviously, when you have a company, you have to offset your costs, but geez, that's outrageous. So if it seems too good to be true, or if it's too much, that's a red flag for us. Some of our green flags are clear and honest communication. So, like we touched on earlier, if you did have a real issue, if your technician takes the time to walk you through it, show you what's going on, tell you a little bit about, I'm going to try to break this down for you as easy as I can and go into it with you, that's a green flag there. Another green flag is transparent prices. A lot of guys will not give you a quote over the phone, or they change prices from house to house to house for whatever reason. So they're open and honest with their prices and they stay consistent. That's a big green flag for us. Another green flag, especially in today's digital age, as I'm sure you guys have experienced, is a good reputation. Even if you're just checking on Google, if people have websites or reviews, or checking on Facebook if they have reviews, that is a massive green flag. That'll really help you be able to weed out the Joes from the pros. You want to obviously go with companies that have majority of green flags. So we'll go we'll go back to that later. So now is the fun part. We're moving a little bit quicker than I thought we would be, but we are going to open this up to a Q&A. So if you guys have been thinking about questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, if you want to either, I don't know how Zoom really works, if I'm being honest, and I'm sure a lot of people don't either. I think there's a hand raising section, so you guys can either do the hand raising or you can just drop something in the comments and I will look at it as soon as I can. Excuse me. So our first round of questions here comes from Facebook. So we have, as you guys have seen, also I just noticed that there's doodling on the screen. I don't even know why that is. You can ignore all that. Some of our questions here. We leave for vacation in the summer. What should we leave the house at? The ideal temperature to leave your home at while you're away is anywhere between 75 and 78. You want to still have it so the AC turns on while you're away because you don't want mildew growth, mold growth, and moisture sitting in your home. You still want that to be ventilated and pushed out. So let's run into our question two. This was actually from somebody that is in this call right now. Do flow tablet treatments that you put in the drain of the AC work, or are they a gimmick? They do work. I personally tell people, majority of the times, when you have an HVAC professional come out, we're not just putting water and putting vinegar down. We are putting down pan tablets. If your technician's worth their wits, we're using the pan tablets or something of that nature. They work essentially by releasing active ingredients. Again, every brand is different. I can recommend my brands to you guys too. They release the active ingredients that inhibit the growth of the bacteria in the slime. So it helps not have algae growth. It kills bacteria that'll be growing in your lime that again can cause those mold and mildew issues. And they prevent mineral deposits. They keep your drain line clean. And also, a nice added bonus is you don't have to deal with like a murky, musty smell coming from your AC. A lot of times, too, once you use these tablets, when you stay on top of them, they'll kind of mitigate any kind of odor coming from your AC. So, quick sip of water, real quick. Can you put vinegar or diluted Clorox in your drain line to prevent slime/gunk buildup? I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to give you two thumbs down for this. No bleach in your AC. No bleach in your AC ever, please. Your PVC lines are not meant to have a corrosive liquid in them. Even water and algae is sometimes a throw with them. Okay. If you use bleach in your drain line, over time, what's going to happen? It's like when you wear down on a piece of wood with a knife. So whittle, 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 and you're wearing down, and you can be doing bleach for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And all it takes is that one day it'll cut through. It'll cut through your PVC line. You'll have to have the entire foundation of your home looked at. You'll have to get the drain line pulled out, and that's an entire process in itself to have them put a new drain line in for you. So, big no on bleach. Vinegar is a great home remedy. Again, these are kind of old technologies that we're talking about. There are a lot better alternatives to the vinegar route that we can use today, and a lot more information that has made itself available to us, both as technicians and as just general consumers. So, the last cue on our Facebook questions here is a UV light needed? This is the big debate with a lot of technicians and a lot of homeowners. It is not necessarily needed. It is a great air quality upgrade that you can have. It's like if you were looking for a car, you can either get a Lexus or you can get a Camry. If you could get a Lexus, you'd want to get a Lexus. So the UV lights really do a great job at killing bacteria in the unit. And I'm not just saying that because I want to sell anybody on it. I have seen firsthand, we have one on our home and our AC unit right now. For those of you guys that don't know, I live in the Grove. I'm home right now, so I'm here. You can come knock on my door, come find me. We have one here. It has done a great job. We had two dogs, and just the odors of the dogs were rampant in our home. Um, Now we have the UV light, and it's like night and day, which is crazy to me because our dogs stink. If you guys have pets, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. They stink. So, again, while it's not needed, it's definitely recommended. So, do with that what you will. If you had more questions about that, give me a call and we'll get it sorted out. Another hot topic I have here for you guys from questions that I've seen online. People are asking about the iFlow. How many of you guys have heard about the iFlow? Let's get a show of hands here. You guys have seen TV ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. They have a massive marketing budget, so I wish I could market it myself as well as they do. So, this is a little infographic here that I have. I actually met the owner of this company in Orlando a couple weeks ago and just really got to ask some nitty-gritty questions, got some really great feedback, some really great information here on the product itself. As you can see in this bottom graph here, we're all the way down here. Over 25,000 iFlows were installed since March of last year, and there has been only 15 clogs according to their studies for people that have the iFlow. So we have one again in our home. I kind of souped up our AC so I could try everything out. The iFlow is a great piece of technology. It is both a homeowner grade product and they also offer the contractor grade product, which is what you see in this image here. So you have the standard iFlow and the iFlow Pro. The standard iFlow only has, I believe, 3 and 6 months cartridges. It's something that you can do yourself, or you can hire someone to do it. If you do the iFlow route, excuse me, there's no warranty on the iFlow, the homeowner version. If you go the route of the iFlow Pro, it has to be installed by a professional. It is hardwired into your AC unit. So what that means is it wires up to that float switch. Remember we were talking about that one little thing that when it fills with water, it turns your entire AC off? That pesky thing, it wires directly up to that. So when that trips, the iFlow will automatically dispense. You'll get a notification. I'll get a notification. We look into it and we rectify any issues if we need. So there's a couple of other two benefits when it comes to the iFlow Pro warranty wise. It's a 5 year warranty as opposed to the no year warranty. So these are just questions I got and saw. So I'm presenting the information to you. Another question, smart thermostats here. I am an accredited ecobee Pro, but I'm going to talk about some other brands too. I'm just going to present this. ecobee smart thermostats are great options, especially for people that are snowbirds or if you travel a lot. Like if I had the means to be retired and travel 6 months out of the year, trust me, I would. I totally would. So I don't shame anybody that does that. So these smart thermostats, what they do, they hook up to your AC. Obviously, it's a thermostat, and it connects to your phone. So instead of having to walk to the wall and change your temperature on your thermostat, you can go, "Hey Siri, change the temperature of the AC. Set it to whatever you decide." Or you can change it just on the app. The apps are super intuitive. They make it really, really easy for homeowners and people that don't know a whole lot about HVAC to use their app. And it's very interactive. And the best part about it is they have a lot of YouTube tutorials, like we were talking about earlier. They have some bang out customer service. So if you were to ever have an issue, they rectify it. And the best part about the pro version of these echobees, so touching back like how we said with the iFlow, there's a pro version. If you have a contractor or an HVAC professional like myself put it in, you have a 5 year warranty, which is great because you guys probably know it's always something with your AC. It is always something. So that's touching on that. Now we are going to touch back and I'm going to read off some of these questions here that we have in the chat. If you guys also have any more questions, you can let me know, or you can just do the hand raise thing on Zoom and we'll unmute you and we'll get it sorted out. So, question one from Mr. Bill Ma. The outside temp is cool and comfortable, so how long can I leave my AC turned off? I don't want algae to grow in either the drainage pipe. I would recommend just turning your AC up higher. It won't turn on. So, say for example, if it's 62 degrees outside and you set your AC to 78, 77, your fan will still go on. So, you're still having the circulation in your home, but you're not having it cool, which is what you want. That will help mitigate any kind of growth or bacteria that is just sitting stagnant in your AC unit. As long as you're having some kind of air circulation, that's all you need. You can also set on your thermostat just fan auto. Unless you fully turn off your unit via breaker, that fan will still go on auto. I have a lot of people too that have told me, I have my AC turned off, but it's still running. Why is that? 9 times out of 10, it's the fan going on and off, which you want that again to circulate the air. So thank you for your question, Bill. Let's move along. My husband said, be careful of the blue light sales pitch. Is that the same as a UV light? It is. A lot of salesmen will essentially use different terminology to close a sale. So UV lights, like we touched on earlier, they're great to have. They're not 100% a necessity. If you were interested in looking at a UV light, or you had someone come in your home and try to sell you a UV light, my number one question to you would be to ask, what kind of light is it? There are certain lights that it is literally just like if I were to turn on my flashlight and hold it above the AC, there are no germicidal properties. These are the lower level UV lights. They're obviously cheaper for companies to buy, and they'll charge you outrageous premiums to put them in. What you want to look for is a UVC light. So the C So ultraviolet and C, for some reason, even though it doesn't start with a C, is germicidal. What we're looking for is a UVC light. So ultraviolet germicidal. Me personally, I only install the ultraviolet germicidal lights, so we'll never have these questions. But oftentimes, other big companies, and I'm not going to name names because you never know who's listening, they will try to sell just UV light. You want to make sure that it actually has the ability to kill bacteria, to prevent mold and mildew growth, which the UVC lights do. I appreciate your curiosity and your listening to sales. That's a number one thing. Thank you, Robin, for that question. Let's move along. Mr. Mitch said, does a UV light installed outside of mechanical void the warranty? No, it does not. Mechanical does not do the warranty. Your warranty is through Carrier. You can use any licensed contractor to work on your Carrier unit that will honor your warranty. As long as you have somebody that can document what they're doing, knows what they're doing, and has the proper licensing to back it up, they can work on your Carrier unit, and that falls under all of your warranty procedures. A, a lot of times when it comes to contract work and warranty work, things are worded into sounding a little bit spooky, so you stay with a certain company, but you can use anybody that's licensed. You can call any company on the Treasure Coast to come service your AC, and as long as they're a legit company, you are good to go warranty wise. So, short story long, no, your UV light outside of mechanical will not void your warranty. So, let's go forward. I'm seeing some hands raised here too. Mr. Jim Bearer, what do you have for me, Jim? You are not unmuted, my friend. Let me unmute you. Here we go.
I was under the impression that when you set your fan on auto, it only went on when they kicked in the compressor to put cold air. Are you saying that the fan goes on off and on whether it needs cold air or not?
Correct. So the fan circulates your air regardless of whether it's calling for cooling or not. It can still run. Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
Thank you, Jim. All right, let's touch back on our comments here. Mr. Phil said, I was told the tablet should be put in the pan of the A-frame in the unit in the house versus in the float switch box. Thoughts? If you put them in the pan of your A-frame, that means you have to pull the panels off. We don't want to be doing all that, especially as homeowners, because oftentimes you never know. You can lose a screw, anything like that. When you put them directly into that float switch box, everything gets pushed out that same way. So you can either start in your A-frame in your air handler. What we're talking about is in the air handler for anybody that may have questions. It's your coils in here. That same drain pan that's in there is still draining out to your outside. I put them in the float switch box. They'll still get that same condensate. So either way, the algae is still affected. So it'll still get pushed out. Might just take a little bit longer, but again, it still dissolves. And sometimes if it goes back into your unit itself, whether or not you decide to take the panels off, it'll still be treated and good to go. So thank you, Phil, for your question. I don't know if that made sense, but I hope it did. If you have another question or you want me to clarify, let me know. I'm sorry, S said, given the local climate, what is the maximum inside humidity to prevent mold slash mildew growth? You want your humidity, I'm sorry, to be sitting between anywhere between 50 and 65%. That's on the high range. So we can actually see that on our thermostats here well, depending on the kind of thermostat that you have. A lot of smart thermostats, like for example, the Ecobee thermostats, they have that feature embedded in, and you'll be able to see the humidity rating of your home. I don't know if the regular standard Honeywells have it, but a lot of the upgraded ones do. Let me actually look into that real quick for you guys. All right, let's see. Anywhere between 30 and 50, below 60. So we are 60 on the high end, anywhere between 30 and 50. So again, if you don't max out that 60% range, we're good. The number one way to monitor that, honestly, is again, either a smart thermostat or if you have a handheld thermometer that you can put in your home that does humidity ratings, you can always go that route too. So There was a company, Mr. Ron said, there was a company that tried to sell a blue liquid that claims to lube the Freon and have the condenser last longer. I had never really heard about that, if I'm being honest. I know there's some companies that do a leak stop if you were to have a leaking copper line with your refrigerant. Otherwise, I'm not really familiar with that, but I'll definitely look into that, and I'll Google it here shortly and give you a good answer. So I got a question from Miss Anna Marie. You mentioned not closing the vents in unused rooms. What about closing the doors to unused rooms? Does that cause the AC to work harder as well? Not necessarily. So the way these doors are built, as you know, we all have the same doors. They have the little gap at the bottom. So there's still air that's able to escape at the bottom of the door. So you can leave the doors closed if you'd like. It really won't affect your AC long term. So thank you for that question, Miss Anna Marie. Question from Miss Daphne here is what is the life of a UVC light? Depending on the make and model and brand that you get, personally, the ones that I install are 2 years. You can get ones that are 1 year, 2 year. They have up to like 5 years. The 2 year mark is usually our most reasonable, both cost wise, safety wise, and effectiveness. So the reason why I do the 2 years is because you know you have to change them. After that 2 year life, oftentimes things get lost and you never check on the unit. So although there is more options, we stick with the 2 year bulbs, max efficiency for both your dollar and your AC system. Oh, sorry, hiccup there. As well, with our UV lights, oftentimes they will still shine after they've expired, essentially. We just need to stay on top of it. They will lose their efficiency and effectiveness as they continue to burn. So if we have a 2 year bulb and we hit that 2 year mark, we stay on top of changing it. Any longer, it's not as effective in killing the bacteria. So thank you, Miss Daphne, for your question. Now let's go ahead. Mr. Mark says, do we need to clean out the vents and ducts? I would actually recommend against that, and I'll tell you why. Your vents is one thing. If you were to get on a ladder or you have a duster that's extendable and just cleaning off your vent is one thing. When you do a duct cleaning, first of all, the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, which is the big overseer of anything HVAC or anything dealing with the environment, hazardous materials, et cetera, they recommend against duct cleaning simply for the reason that when you put something into your duct and you have, say, a pen, this is going to pretend to be our drill brush or air that goes up into your ductwork. Spin, 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 spin. You have insulation and thin aluminum foil looking ducts. So when you have so much friction in there and a lot of pent up air, it'll actually rip your ductwork. So you either will have to A, get a whole new duct installed, or you'll have to get it patched. Two things that obviously we don't want to do. And oftentimes, too, unless we were to actually have a major dust problem in a home, duct cleaning and vent cleaning is unnecessary. So, my number one tip, if you were to notice excessive dust in your home, pre-duct cleaning, are you running the fan on auto? If you are, you can run it to on temporarily for a couple hours a day and turn it off, or open your windows and doors, let your house get some circulation. There's a statistic that I read. It said that it takes up to 7 years for the initial construction dust to get pushed out of your AC unit, which is crazy to me. But I believe it. I've seen it myself firsthand. Just honestly, opening up your doors, getting a little bit of circulation and ventilation is the best way to keep these things clean. So, thank you, Mr. Mark, for your question. Let's move on here. Miss Joanne. I joined the Zoom a little late. Did you cover how often I need to suck out the gunk from the outside pipe? What else needs to be done to maintain AC unit besides changing the filter? I will send you a recording of this Zoom at the end, just because for everybody else on here, we kind of already covered that, but we'll answer your question after this is over. I'll send you a message. Miss Andrea said, humidity in the house, best at what? I didn't follow what you said. I know I was kind of a little all over the place with that. Anywhere between 30 and 50%, ideally below 60%. And that's putting it better. I guess that's an easier way to answer that. All right, here we go. Let's see. I'm scrolling down here. S said, what should you do if the inside humidity is running north of 60 degrees, even when the thermostat is set at 75 degrees or lower? There is a couple things that you can do. You can get a dehumidifier for your home and just put one in your main living room and see if that'll help get rid of the humidity. Make sure, again, your fan is set to auto. That's a big thing here. Checking your airflow too. So making sure that your air filter is clean and clear. These are our big three things to check. So airflow number one, dehumidifier. Oh, that's a tongue twister. Before anything else, and just making sure your fan is set to auto. Miss Robin, I think that's a miss. I can't even see the picture. I'm so sorry. Robin Fine said, how much is that UVC light? So it depends on the companies that you call. If you call a big company, they will quote you anywhere between 1,200 and 1,800 for a 1 year bulb. A lot. Personally, we do 2 year bulbs here, lifetime warranties, and 795. So we could talk about that. You can give me a call and we'll go from there. All right. Mr. Bill, once again, my standard Honeywell thermostat only has cool, heat, emergency heat off, no auto. Auto is in your fan settings, not your cool mode settings. So if you have the standard Honeywell thermostat, on the right side of the screen, there's something that says fan. If you click that little button underneath it, it'll give you fan on, fan auto, or fan circulate. Go ahead, Bill. Oh, your microphone is very robotic, my friend. You sounded like a cartoon character with the microphone there. Sorry about that. Here, you can unmute yourself again. I muted you on accident. All right, sorry, go ahead. No, it's still cartoony. You can type in the chat and I'll scroll all the way down. I'll read it for you. All right, I'm waiting for his response here. Fan is on auto. Let's see. Afternoons, I manually switch to cool to maintain a comfortable. How can I automate my thermostat to keep the temperature steady at 75? So just set it at 75 and it should hold there. Again, there's a 2 to 3 degree discrepancy here. You can also set a schedule if you have the standard Honeywell. So we would have to get you either the upgraded Honeywell thermostat that does allow for a schedule or an Ecobee smart thermostat of any brand of your choosing, and you could set up that schedule so you can have that be automated. Otherwise, you unfortunately with the standard ones, you will have to go back and manually change it. But we'll touch back on that again. If you have any questions, you can always call me. So thank you, Bill, for your question, and thank you for the little laugh there with your microphone. All right, Mr. Dennis says, "What is the best plan for us snowbirds leaving for 6 months?" So, best plan. This is kind of a loaded question. I'm going to do my best to give you my best advice here. So, as a snowbird, you can leave. Obviously, you're going to have to leave for 6 months anyway. You can leave it at, the temperature that we decide to leave it at. Again, anywhere between 75 and 78, and just leave it at that. If you have a home watcher come, just have them check on your AC to make sure that nothing's going on. We can also do, I personally offer this plan. I'm not sure if other companies offer this arrangement, but I know around here it's kind of necessary. When you do a every, twice a year service plan, say for example, that 6 months when you're gone, we can come through your garage if you have the smart garage, obviously with your permission, come in, get it all serviced, check it all out, get in, get out, and we're good to go. My main word of advice for you would honestly, a home watch company is probably your best bet just to make sure that everything's good, or just a neighbor that can come in and check it out. And it's totally up to your preference. I normally recommend home watch simply because they have insurances in case things go wrong and they find something. Because obviously, if you're gone for 6 months, you're not here. A lot can happen in 6 months, as I'm sure you guys have seen in your homes here. So, thank you, Dennis, for your question. If you have a follow-up question, just let me know because I know I was a little bit all over the place. So, All right. Miss Anna Marie says, sometimes I leave the sliders open to the lanai for the dogs to go in and out. How bad is that in relation to the AC usage and power, for lack of a better word used? So if you leave the doors open, your AC is going to run longer, period. So say for example, it's 90 degrees outside and you have your AC set to 72. Your AC is going to keep running, 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 running until it hits that 72-degree mark. My best advice to you would either be A, you can kick off the AC for the times that you're going to have them completely open, or you can kick up the AC instead of fully off, depending on how hot or cold it is outside, to be above the outside temperature so it doesn't turn on, but you're still being able to run it and be able to turn it down. So I think that answers that. And let's move on to more questions. For price questions, guys, I'm going to have you just message me directly and I'll put my phone number in here so I can send out estimates directly because it's a little bit tough to give ballpark answers when some people have different situations. So we're going to kind of keep our price questions to the side for now. And again, I'll put my phone number in here so you guys can call/text me directly. All right. Miss Joanne said, I have the Ecobee thermostat, and since I'm seasonal, the humidity level is often above 60 degrees with temp at 75, 78. Did you say the fan should be set to autopilot, which I thought it was, or fan should be turned off completely? Your fan should be set to auto. So that will help circulate the humidity in the home. If you notice, again, the humidity goes above 60%, oftentimes it's because the external temperature is so hot. So if we have an 106-degree day, which is common here in Florida, which sucks, but it gets really, really hot. If it's so hot outside and our AC is not necessarily running as much, we are going to notice a little bit above 60% humidity. That, again, 60% is on the higher range. If you are gone, my best advice to you would be during the day, if you can knock it down to the lower range of 75, 78, or even down to 74, so it'll run and push that humidity out of the home, that would be our best bet here. It's good that you have the smart thermostat too, so you can monitor that, so you have those metrics. You'll know exactly what the humidity and the temperature is. So let's move on here. I have, is maintenance 4 times a year overkill? Yes and no, and I'll tell you why I think that. So a lot of homes in here, because these are brand new construction homes, 4 times a year can be overkill as it is redundant almost to have it checked, the same things checked on a brand new home 4 times a year. The main thing that I would say, again, is going off of these other maintenance related questions and comments that we've talked about before. If you as a homeowner stay on top of changing your filter, doing pan tablets and everything like that, and you get reports from where you're getting your maintenance done, 4 times a year may not be for you. If you run your AC a lot more and you're the type of person that likes the house set at 70 degrees, for example, it might not be a bad idea to venture down that route. Or if you're in the K where you have a little bit of an older unit, you can look into doing 4 times a year. As a professional, the frequency is something I more or less leave up to the homeowner to decide. Majority of my service plans are twice a year, but you have the people that want 4 times a year. If you want it, you get it. That's the easiest way to put it. So it can be, like I said, sometimes redundant depending on the age of the unit, but I would obviously advise you if I was standing in front of your unit and let you know. Thank you for your question. And let's move on. So Susan and Jeff Goldberg ask, where is the humidity setting on the Honeywell Wi-Fi thermostat? It should be on your main temperature home screen. So you'll have on the screen your main big temperature, which is the ambient temperature in the room. So say, for example, 74. You'll have the small temperature above it, which is what you have set in the home. So say 72. And somewhere on that main screen, they'll have a little percentage with the number next to it. I obviously don't know exactly what the setup is on your Honeywell thermostat, but if you're not able to find it, give me a call and I'll help you troubleshoot it. Thank you, Susan and Jeff, for your question. Now let's move along. Mr. Allen says, what do you actually do for the twice yearly maintenance? So, me personally, I do a lot. and I can read them off to you real quick here. Let me pull up my screen so I can read down everything that I do. I do quite a bit, and honestly, quite a bit more than a lot of other companies. But going back to my main statements here is I like to take care of my clients because my clients tend to take care of me. And when you do right by people, they like you better. And I like being liked. So let's go ahead and read you off directly. I can't share my screen because I have this pulled up on my iPad here, but I will read you off exactly what I do. A big pillar of this twice a year is your drain line. So I treat your drain line by flushing it out with CO2, which I know is new for a lot of people to hear as you guys probably use your vacuum. As a homeowner, vacuum is great. Professional, I use CO2 and I treat it with a commercial grade algicide. I check and record your refrigerant pressures. So that's your outside unit, making sure things are not going awry on that. I check your amp draws on your compressor, your motors, and your heat strips. So again, these are all outside things. With your drain line treatment, I do offer a 30-day warranty on your drain line after maintenance. So if you were to notice some backup happens and it's 15 days after, give me a call. We get it sorted out for you. Then I check the conditions of your evaporator coil, which is that A-frame coil that we were talking about a little bit earlier. So check and clean that. Again, that's cleaning off any residual mildew or mold and whatnot. A lot of companies don't include that, but again, I like to take care of people, so I do. And I check your heat operations. So there's a couple other things that I do as well. I take pictures, I include a report. If you had any questions regarding the service plans and whatnot, give me a call or a text, and I'll send this all to you, and we can go from there. So let's go down here. Mr. Mitch says, are you familiar with Daikin ACs since that is what GL is now using in the park? How does this compare to Carrier? So that's a very interesting and very loaded question, I'll tell you. And I'll tell you why. So, brand wise, every AC is very similar. There are a couple components that are obviously different, but brand wise, as long as they cool the home, they all do the same thing. So it really comes down to your installer and their quality of installation as far as the quality of the unit goes itself. You can have a fantastic unit, top of the line, all the bells and whistles, but if you have subpar installation, you're inevitably going to have issues. So that's my take on the brand itself. It's also, I can't speak for every unit. I know sometimes their distribution and manufacturing process is different. I believe Daikin is a foreign brand as opposed to Carrier, which is an American brand, I believe. Um, Obviously, I'm not going to touch more on that. You can use your judgment on that. And obviously, if they have that in their home, if they have issues and we still have the same issues, irregardless, it's coming down to the installer. Short story long again, yes, I am familiar with the Daikin ACs. They are pretty much the same, besides a couple of components. They're more computerized than the Carrier ones that we're familiar with here. But everything is a learning curve. So we adapt, we overcome. So I hope that answered your question. I know that's a little bit all around the board. Thank you, Mr. Mitch. All right. And now we have a lot of people logging off here. Mr. Phil, thank you for taking the time to share. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I am going to, I think, post this on YouTube and I'll just post the link and you guys can go. I will post a video of me changing the filters as well. So you guys can see that at your convenience and go from there. As for other questions, I will take, any other questions that you guys may have. Other than that, we can wrap up. Can you flush drain line with water hose? So that's another kind of loaded question. The answer is yes. Short. Yes. There's a couple of adjustments you'll have to make and a couple of contraptions that you can use. You can certainly flush it out. It takes a little bit longer and it's not as effective, I find, long term as the CO2 in the sense where you're pushing everything out. And if you have a really stubborn clog, it might just take a little bit more force. So if you have a jet nozzle hose, you will be able to get it a little bit easier than just a standard, hooking a hose up and just letting it pour out water. That will often take, if you're using the hose, about 10, 20 minutes. If you're doing that for your home maintenance on your own, that's fantastic. For me, I no longer do that just because there's better technologies and it's easier as a technician. But yes, you can use a hose, certainly. And okay, last question, unless anybody else has any more question. What? Oh, never mind. What is the name of the tablets you recommend? So let me share my screen real quick. Let me drag things over so you can see if this will let me drag it over. Okay. So let me zoom this in a little bit here so you can see. I actually don't even know if you'll be able to see this, so bear with me real quick here. I have to change my screen sharing. Here we go. All right. Now, can you guys see this screen here? So this brand, New Calagon, and I will also post the link to this Amazon listing here, right here. Mm. So that's now in the chat. This brand New Calgon is one of the most well-known brands in the HVAC industry. They make a lot of great products. I've used these tablets time and time again, and I find to have great success with them. And you can't beat the price. For 200 tablets, it's only $33. You get it overnight. It's super easy. There's also another brand that we can recommend here aside from that. If I can type, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. This is, oh, they might not have it anymore. There we go. All right. Mad tabs. What I like about these is that they glow in the dark if you use a UV light. So, why that would make a significant impact for me as a technician is if we would ever have some kind of crack in your PVC or whatnot, say you use bleach for 10 years. We would put one of these down, and if we were to have an issue, we would take a UV light over it, and we could see exactly where the crack is because the liquid would be there. So, nonetheless, these are cool too. The cost is a little bit more per serving, is the best way to put it. But these pan tablets, the new Calgon ones, great success with them. That's probably my number one recommendation. So let's go ahead and answer our final few questions here. Aside from personal comfort, do you recommend turning the thermostat up or down overnight? It's really up to you. I'm the type of person where I like to sleep cold, so I turn it down. It energy wise, it doesn't make much of a difference unless you're going a vast difference throughout your day. Say during the day you have it set at 78, and at night you set it down to 65. That's the only reason why it would be running, running, running. So I would just recommend throughout the day, say for example, at 9 in the morning, you have it set to 75. Around 5 o'clock in the evening, turn it down to 72. And then when you're about to go to bed, say at 10 o'clock, you turn it down to 68. It won't use that much more power to push, push, push air out. So it's really up to your comfort. And I think that is our final question, guys. Does anybody have any further questions before we wrap this up here? I'm also going to stop sharing my screen and let's see if we got any more questions. I think, yeah, I think we're good, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the seminar here. I worked pretty hard to put everything together. So if you guys had, any questions again, I will put my phone number on the Facebook page so you can give me a call, give me a text, and I will also put this recording up as well as the video of how I changed the filter. So I hope you guys all enjoyed. To all my new homeowners here, to all my new Parkers, welcome, welcome, welcome. To anybody moving in here in Riverland, you're gonna love it. It's great. And yeah, other than that, thank you guys so much again, and have a
Thank
great
you.
Thursday.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys. Bye. Thank you all.